Hello, second graders. This is Mr. Scott, and I'm here getting ready for our video. That is going to be for our art lesson that would have been for the week of 9/21. That was last week. I'm a week behind on my videos here. I apologize for that. But this is going to be the lesson that we would be doing for the week of 9/21. Mrs. Patterson had sent you a group of papers that looks like this. It actually, can't remember if yours has two pieces of paper or three, but either way, we're going to use two of them. Even if it has three, we'll use two. Okay? So this group of papers are stapled together, and so you may want to have mom and dad help you get that staple out. Sometimes it can be kind of tricky to get that, but you can go ahead and take that out, and you'll have your orange papers, your blue papers, and your yellow paper. And get those taken apart. And these papers were sent home. Mrs. Patterson sent these home a week ago. And some of them got returned back to school. She was going to put those back in the folders and send them back to you. So you should have these papers even if you sent it back because you didn't know what to do because there was no video. And that's okay. Mrs. Patterson's going to send those back to you. Okay, so you're going to need your papers. You're going to need a pair of scissors. You are going to need a glue stick or Elmer's glue. You could use an Elmer's glue in the bottle if you have that and don't have glue stick. That would be fine. You could use either one. You're also going to need a pencil and either some markers or some crayons. Okay. And we're going to use these things to make something called a collage. And a collage is just when an artist cuts and glues to make a picture. Instead of drawing the picture or painting the picture, they cut and glue things to create a picture or a design. So we're going to be cutting these papers and gluing them together to create a picture of two pumpkins. Last week we did a pumpkin drawing, I think. But this is going to help us learn about how to put one thing in front of another in a drawing. We're going to learn about something called overlapping. And overlapping is a trick that artists use to make it look like one thing is sitting in front of another. So when we cut and glue to make our collage, we're going to show in that collage that there is one pumpkin sitting in front of another. Okay? And then later on, we're going to learn how to use overlapping in a drawing to help make things look like one is in front of the other. But now, this time around, we're going to use collage. We're going to cut and glue. So the first thing I want you to do is to put your name on the piece of the yellow paper. The yellow paper is the biggest paper. It's going to be kind of our background for the rest of our collage. So I want you to neatly and carefully write your name on the back of the yellow paper. And again, we do it a nice size so it's easy for me to turn it over and quickly see whose paper I'm looking at. Doing our best handwriting. Okay. Then I'm going to turn it over and we're ready to start collaging or gluing onto this piece of paper. The first thing we're going to glue is the blue paper. And we're going to glue this blue paper down to create kind of a tabletop that our pumpkins are going to be sitting on. We've talked about a baseline a little bit. This line right here, where the yellow and the blue meet, is the baseline, and that's going to be kind of the back edge of our table. Whenever we want to glue something down, we always look at the two pieces of paper that we're getting ready to glue, and we decide which one is the smallest. Because when we're gluing, we always want to put the glue on the smallest paper. So the blue one is smaller than the yellow one. So that means our glue is going to go onto the back of the blue paper. So I'm going to lay that down. And with my glue stick, I am going to cover the back of the blue paper. The blue one is the smaller one. So that is the one where I want to get my glue. Okay. And when I go to glue that onto my yellow paper, I want to line it up on the bottom as carefully as I can. I want the bottom edges to match up. Get it right along that bottom edge and glue it down. And so you can see now there's no yellow hanging over on the sides or on the bottom. And to make sure that it's lined up, I'm going to hold this up and you can see from the back there's no blue showing on the back. The blue's not hanging down lower. I lined it up with this edge, and there's no blue hanging off either side because I lined it up on the edge. Okay, so now we've got our background, our yellow background, and we've got our blue tabletop that our two pumpkins are going to be sitting on. Okay. I can't remember again, like I said, if you have two papers or three, if you have three, you could actually make three pumpkins on this project. If you have two, we'll just make two. I've got two here, and you would just add the third one the same way that we're going to do these two, but you'll understand that as we keep going. We want to start with the biggest paper. And on this paper, I am going to draw a pumpkin shape. And we're going to keep in mind that there are no perfect circles or ovals in nature. If I go to the pumpkin patch and I look for a pumpkin, I'm not going to find any that are a perfect oval or a perfect circle. Now I want to get my pumpkin as big as I can on this piece of paper. And I'm just drawing it with pencil. I'm going to darken mine so I can show it to you a little easier. Okay, so here's my pumpkin shape. I tried to get it as big as I could on the paper. This is a big paper. We don't want to make a little tiny pumpkin. We want to try to get it as big as we can. Not a perfect circle, not a perfect oval. You don't want to be perfect on this. There are no perfect circles or ovals in nature. Okay? So now that I've got it drawn, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut this pumpkin out. Okay, here he is. Not a perfect circle, not a perfect oval. Okay, tried to get him as big as I could on that piece of paper. If you look on the side I drew on, you can see some pencil lines. I'm going to make that the back of my pumpkin. I'm going to put the glue on the same side of those pencil lines, so then when I glue it down onto my collage, you're not going to see those pencil lines. So I'm going to glue this pumpkin onto here. Which is bigger, which is smaller? The pumpkin is smaller than our background, isn't it? So that means I would want to put the glue on the pumpkin, not the background. So I'm going to lay it down, and I am going to put my glue on this side. Okay, cover it nice and well so it'll stay stuck down. Now, when I go to glue this down onto the background, I want it to look like this pumpkin is sitting on our tabletop. If I put the pumpkin up too high, like this, it's going to look like it's floating in the air. If it's up above the blue, it looks like it's floating in the air above the table, and we don't want that. We want it to look like it's actually sitting down on the table. So I'm going to make sure that when I glue it down, that part of the pumpkin is touching the blue tabletop. Okay. Do you see how that's touching? All right. Now I'm going to take my black marker or a black crayon. If you don't have markers, a black crayon would be fine. And very carefully, I'm going to trace around the edge of this big pumpkin. Okay, there it is, and I'm just going to stop right there for now. Okay, just traced around it. I might take my green crayons or my green marker. I'll put a stem on this pumpkin. Again, I want these to be Halloween drawings, so I'm not going to put a face on my pumpkin. I'm just going to make it a plain pumpkin sitting on a table. Not a jack-o'-lantern, but just a plain pumpkin sitting on the table. I'll take my black, kind of outline around the stem a little bit. So now my pumpkin has a stem. Okay? This pumpkin's going to be behind another pumpkin. So we put it on first. We made sure the bottom was on the blue. So now I'm ready to make my second pumpkin because I want there to be one pumpkin sitting in front of another. I want them to overlap. So here's a smaller piece of paper. And on that smaller piece of paper, I'm going to draw another pumpkin shape. Don't want a perfect circle. Don't want a perfect oval. I do want to draw a bigger pumpkin, as big a pumpkin as I can on this paper. Even though it's a small paper, I don't want a little tiny pumpkin in it. I want that pumpkin to fill up as much as this piece of paper as I can. Okay. I'm going to take my scissors and cut it out again. We are making a collage. We are cutting and gluing to make a picture. Okay. So there's my pumpkin. Not a perfect circle, not a perfect oval, so we're good to go. No perfect circles, no perfect ovals. Not in nature. Okay? Which is bigger? Is my collage bigger or is my little pumpkin bigger? This is bigger, right? So that's going to tell me that to put the glue on the pumpkin, not the collage. It's got those pencil lines, so that's going to be my back. I'm going to cover that back with the glue. Not putting the glue on the collage, I'm putting the glue on the pumpkin. Okay. And I'm going to place this pumpkin so that it is overlapping the bigger pumpkin. And overlapping just means that it's covering part of it up. It's hiding part of it. I also want it to look like it's closer to me. So in order to make it look closer, it's going to cover part of the big pumpkin, and the bottom is lower. When things are closer to us, they are lower on the paper. So it's covering up, it's overlapping one corner of my big pumpkin, and the bottom is lower. It overlaps, it hides one corner, it's lower. It makes it look like it's sitting in front. So now I'm going to take my black marker and I'm going to trace around the little pumpkin, and that'll make the overlapping show up a little more. So there we go. There's that overlapping. The bottom of the big pumpkin is hidden behind the little pumpkin. I'm going to go ahead and give my little pumpkin a stem. And I want you to look where I have to draw that stem. I've got to draw the stem on the big pumpkin because it's in front. I'm going to take my black and outline it again. And there. Look, the stem of the little pumpkin is actually on the big pumpkin. Maybe I want that little pumpkin to have a leaf. Maybe there's still a leaf left on it from when it was picked on the pumpkin patch. I'd have to draw that leaf on the big pumpkin because it's in front of it. Okay. We can also add some lines to help make our pumpkins look round. So if I did that, I'm going to do them on the little pumpkin first. Not adding a face, just adding some lines to make it look round. Okay. Look at there. 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, kind of curved, helps that make that pumpkin look round. But what about some lines on the big pumpkin to help it make it look round? We can do that, but we've got to remember about the overlapping because this little pumpkin is hiding part of those lines. So this one, it's not being overlapped. It could come down all the way. This one, it could come down all the way. But watch what happens with this next one. It comes down, and this leaf is in the way. So I got to stop and start, and it disappears because this pumpkin is in front. This last one comes down. Oh, look, it bumps into the stem, comes out, and disappears. I have to think about the overlapping to make it look like one pumpkin is in front. Okay? So when an artist wants to make something look like it's in front of something else, they use overlapping, and they put the one in the back up higher and the one in front down lower. It's a cool trick for our drawings to help things look like they're in the front or behind, like our drawings have space instead of being flat. Okay? Again, if you have 3 pieces of orange paper, you could add another little pumpkin down here in front of this one. You could have small in front, medium in the middle, large in the back. But if you want to just do 2, that's fine also. Okay? Hope you have fun cutting and gluing, making this collage using overlapping. I want to remind you that Tuesday, October 6th is the last day to turn things in for this grading period. So this assignment that you're doing now, this pumpkin collage, needs to be turned in by Tuesday, October 6th. That is next Tuesday. So you have a week to make this. I am going to be posting one more video that will be due on that same day, Tuesday, October 6th. And it's going to be a drawing where we're going to use our overlapping to help us show things in front and behind each other. So enjoy making your collage, enjoy cutting and gluing, and I will see you next time. Bye.